The dancing plague of 1518 is one of the most bizarre and perplexing events in history, occurring in Strasbourg, which was then part of the Holy Roman Empire. Now in modern-day France during the summer of 1518, this strange phenomenon involved a group of people, mostly women, who suddenly and uncontrollably began to dance. This dancing frenzy lasted for days, with some participants even dancing until they collapsed or died from exhaustion, strokes, or heart attacks. Despite numerous theories and centuries of speculation, the cause of the dancing plague remains a subject of intrigue and debate. What drove dozens of people to dance uncontrollably in 1518? Was it mass hysteria, ergot poisoning, or something more sinister? This article will explore the events, historical context, and various theories surrounding this enigmatic episode in history. The event itself, dancing plague, began in July 1518 in the city of Strasbourg. It started with a single woman, Frau Trophia, who stepped out into the street and began to dance. At first, it was considered an odd and perhaps harmless behavior. However, as the days went by, more and more people joined her. Soon, the dancing spread like wildfire, and by the end of the month, over 30 people were dancing uncontrollably in the streets. The number of dancers continued to grow, reaching over 400 people at the height of the plague. These dancers were not engaging in a coordinated dance but instead exhibited erratic and frantic movements, seemingly unable to stop or control their actions. Authorities in Strasbourg were at a loss. Doctors were consulted, and they declared that the dancers' condition was caused by hot blood, a term that referred to an excess of blood that supposedly caused the body to act uncontrollably. To treat the condition, they advised that the afflicted should continue dancing, perhaps even hoping to exhaust the heat from their bodies. A stage was set up in the city center, and musicians were brought in to play music to accompany the dancers. Unfortunately, the music only seemed to fuel the frenzy, and the situation only worsened. The dancers were not only acting erratically, many of them also experienced physical collapse, exhaustion, and even death. Some reports suggest that as many as 15 people died each day from exhaustion or heart failure. The event lasted for several weeks, and it wasn't until early September that the outbreak of dancing subsided. The authorities, having no better solution, eventually turned to religious explanations, blaming the dancing on demonic possession or divine punishment. Historical context. To understand the significance of the dancing plague, it is important to consider the historical context in which it took place. In the early 1500s, Europe was in the midst of a turbulent period. The Black Death, which had swept across the continent in the 14th century, had left a lasting impact on the population and the collective psyche of European society. By the time of the dancing plague, many people had already witnessed immense social and cultural upheaval, leading to a heightened sense of superstition and fear. The religious climate of the time also played a key role in shaping how people interpreted strange and unexplained events. Christianity was the dominant belief system, and events that could not be easily explained were often attributed to the supernatural, divine intervention, or the work of evil forces. The idea of mass possession or divine punishment would have been readily accepted by the people of Strasbourg, as the Catholic Church held significant influence over daily life and spiritual matters. Additionally, the region had been experiencing hardships in the years leading up to the dancing plague, including poor harvests, famine, and outbreaks of plague. These conditions created a general sense of anxiety and stress, making the population more susceptible to psychological phenomena and collective behavior. In times of uncertainty and fear, it is not uncommon for individuals to engage in mass hysteria or act out in ways that may seem irrational, or extreme. Theories and explanations over the centuries. Historians and scientists have offered a wide range of theories to explain the dancing plague. While no single explanation has been definitively proven, several plausible theories have emerged. These theories can be broadly categorized into psychological, physiological, and environmental explanations. 1. Mass hysteria. Psychological explanation. One of the most widely accepted theories is that the dancing plague was a case of mass hysteria, also known as collective behavior or mass psychogenic illness. This theory suggests that the phenomenon was the result of psychological stress and social contagion. The people of Strasbourg, living in a time of hardship and fear, may have experienced a collective breakdown of mental stability. This kind of mass hysteria often occurs when individuals in a group share a common fear or anxiety, leading to irrational behavior that spreads through the population. Mass hysteria has been observed in other instances throughout history, such as the Salem witch trials or the Tanganyika laughter epidemic of 1962. In these cases, the affected individuals were driven by emotional and social pressures, and their symptoms were spread through imitation and suggestion. In the case of the dancing plague, the first woman's behavior may have sparked a chain reaction, with others joining in due to a combination of peer pressure, anxiety, and social contagion. 2. Ergot poisoning. Physiological explanation. Another prominent theory is that the dancing plague was caused by ergot poisoning. Ergot is a type of fungus that grows on damp rye and other grains. When consumed, ergot produces a powerful hallucinogenic substance called lysergic acid, which can cause symptoms such as hallucinations, seizures, muscle spasms, and convulsions. In some extreme cases, ergot poisoning can result in gangrene and death. At the time of the dancing plague, Europe was experiencing poor harvests and famine, and it is likely that some of the grain consumed by the population was contaminated with ergot. The symptoms of ergot poisoning could explain the uncontrollable movements and hallucinations exhibited by the dancers. Some reports from the time describe the dancers as being in a trance-like state, which is consistent with the effects of hallucinogenic substances. 3. Religious or supernatural explanations. In the 16th century, the most common explanation for unexplained phenomena was religious or supernatural in nature. Some people believed that the dancing plague was a form of divine punishment, sent by God to punish the people of Strasbourg for their sins. This idea was fueled by the fact that the city had recently experienced a series of natural disasters and epidemics, which some believed were signs of God's wrath. Others believed that the dancers were possessed by demons or spirits. According to some accounts, the afflicted individuals were not simply dancing, they were being controlled by malevolent forces, and their actions were beyond their own will. This belief in demonic possession was widespread in Europe during the medieval and early modern periods, and it was often used to explain strange and inexplicable behavior. 4. Neurological or medical explanation. Some researchers have suggested that the dancing plague could have been caused by a neurological disorder or a form of epilepsy. Conditions like chorea, which causes involuntary jerky movements, have been proposed as possible explanations for the dancers' behavior. In addition, some have speculated that the outbreak may have been caused by a viral or bacterial infection that affected the brain and caused the dancers to experience seizures and spasms. However, there is little evidence to support these theories, and many of the symptoms reported by witnesses do not align with the characteristics of known neurological disorders. Additionally, the fact that the dancers were able to continue moving for such extended periods of time without significant injury or collapse makes these explanations less plausible. Conclusion: the dancing plague of 1518 remains one of the most enigmatic events in history. Despite centuries of speculation and a variety of theories, the true cause of the outbreak remains a mystery. Whether it was a case of mass hysteria, ergot poisoning, religious punishment, or something else entirely, the event stands as a fascinating example of how human behavior can be shaped by psychological, social, and environmental factors. The dancing plague also serves as a reminder of the power of fear and anxiety in times of hardship. The people of Strasbourg, faced with famine, disease, and the pressures of daily life, may have been particularly susceptible to psychological contagion and social influences. Today, we can look back at the dancing plague as a curious and mysterious episode in history, but it also provides valuable insights into the complex interplay of mind, body, and society in times of crisis. Though no single explanation can fully account for the events of 1518, the dancing plague continues to captivate the imagination of historians, scientists, and the public. As we continue to explore the human mind and its vulnerabilities, we may never fully understand what happened during that fateful summer in Strasbourg. Nonetheless, the legacy of the dancing plague remains a testament to the strange and often inexplicable ways in which humans respond to fear, stress, and the unknown.